The Gospel of Mark was the first Gospel. It was thought to be written around 65 to 70 CE. Mark may have not been the true writer of the Gospel. Scholars believe that there was a John Mark who learned about Jesus from Peter the Apostle. Mark's Gospel reflects on the persecution of Jesus and suffering. This is because he wanted Christians to realize that Jesus also suffered, and hopefully this would also give them hope and Nero blamed them for the burning of Rome. Mark's Gospel had special emphasis on Jesus' suffering and the passion of his death. This is because he tries to explain that Jesus' suffering was part of Christian life. His Gospel also shows that he was divine, but also human at the same time. Luke was a well-educated Gentile who converted to Christianity. Most believe that his Gospel was written around 85 CE in a big city called Syria, which is in Rome. His Gospel was referred to as the Gospel of Jesus because of how beautifully and compassionately he described Jesus. His Gospel is actually the first volume of a two-part history of early Christianity. The second part is the Acts of the Apostles, which is also in the New Testament. Luke was writing to an audience of Gentiles who were the early Christians. He tries to comfort the readers who are upset of Jesus not returning, and tell them that the Holy Spirit was an important role in Jesus' life and teachings. He also stresses how merciful and compassionate Jesus is, and that he will always be there to help us. He also reminds us that God is forgiving, and that you'll experience joy if you also forgive. Matthew's Gospel was the most popular Gospel. There is no clear date or author to who wrote it, but scholars believe that it was written around 90 CE. There are 130 passages that refer to the Old Testament indirectly and directly. Matthew also wrote with a lot of sensitivity to the early Christians and Jews. This was really valuable to the Jews that were inquiring about the Christian faith. The way he organized his Gospel was also a key factor, because it was organized the same way as the first 5 books of the Old Testament. This helped prove that Jesus was the Messiah. The Gospel of Matthew has the 5 great discourages or speeches from Jesus. These discourages show Jesus as a powerful teacher. His Gospel also shows that Jesus fulfilled the promises that God made, and that is why he refers back to the Old Testament so many times. His Gospel is also well organized. That is why it is often called the Church's Gospel, because it is easy to read. This aspect is also important to converting Jews, so that they can learn about the Catholic faith.
John's Gospel was filled with symbolic language and imagery, and was also used as a basis for communal and personal prayer. He is also known as the beloved disciple, and his Gospel was written around 90 CE. John saw Jesus as the divine Son of God, bread and wine, light of the world, and the Good Shepherd.